Okay, folks, it is very late at night, but I'm probably going to be moving to more of a late night streaming schedule going from here on. And today we are starting up Phantasy Star Universe. This was selected earlier in the year by people who follow me on Twitter between this and Phantasy Star Online. By like one vote, and granted, saying that, I don't have a whole lot of people who vote on stuff like that. I don't have a whole lot of followers. The general tenor that I got from any of the very few people who spoke on it said... Well, I had said that Phantasy Star Online had a better story, this had better gameplay, which is what I remember to be the case. And the general tenor was, well, play the one with the better gameplay. Who cares about the story? And I care about the story. I care about the story immensely. I am making that a thing that I'm doing a lot on YouTube. Also, I'm talking over the song. Oops. But, oh well. We're going to find out if this is actually as questionable story-wise as I remember. I seem to recall that this was the point where the series really started descending into being anime bullshit and never exactly came back, despite continuing to explore some very interesting themes throughout its entire runtime. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's still some pretty interesting shit going on with PSO2, maybe even in New Genesis. I haven't played that in a very, very long time. But like I said, we will find out together. And let me tell you also what a absolute shit carnival I went through trying to get this to work. So, I own this game on PS2, and I own this game on PC. And I figured I'm going to play this game on PC because that is just generally going to probably give better fidelity. I'm not going to have to account for any of the gap between things going on my end and it actually showing up on stream. I'm not going to have to do any of the large amount of horrible wire mess of a setup that I would need to in order to be able to watch the game go on my screen and be able to play it properly and everything. And just generally, it'll probably look and sound and maybe even play better on the PC as it will compared to the PS2. So, I went in my room, I dug out my copy of Phantasy Star Universe, and from that I only have the disc, but put that thing into my DVD drive on my computer, which I still have. I think it's a Blu-ray drive actually, but whatever. It's an optical disc drive of some description. And it installed just fine. And then I went to play it, and it basically said, hey, yeah, go to hell. We are not going to operate for you. It attempted to ping the GameGuard server, I believe, for a game that has not been operable online for 10 years. At least not through official methods. I then sought out the PSU private server Clementine, and I downloaded their client, and wouldn't you know it, there's no single-player story mode access for that. Which, okay, fair enough. I then downloaded a copy of the game from on the internet and downloaded a basically a no-disc patch for a game that I already own. I had to pirate a game I already fucking own from some very shady websites that I was afraid was going to give my computer all kinds of horrible diseases. And I guess thank goodness that didn't happen, because it still didn't work. I then was on the verge of giving up. I was very close to just being like, okay, I'm just going to get out the PS2, I'm going to hate everything, and we're going to play this on PS2. But I did one more search, and I found a forum from 2013. I found psumods.co.uk, and they had links to the client as distributed by Sega at the end of the game's life cycle, available, uploaded on mega.nz, which is its own host of being a huge mess. Because, of course, then I had basically had to sit around for 3 days total running up against the, oh, you've downloaded too much already issue on Mega Upload. And I got everything. I got the client for this. I got the client for the expansion pack, Phantasy Star Universe Ambition of the Illuminous, which that has its own story mode. We will be playing through that eventually. And I got English language patches for both of them, because otherwise it's a Japanese client, and I can't speak the language. Sorry. I had a scare for a moment with this after I set the options. Shut up. I hit press enter specifically so I didn't have to watch that sequence again. So I had a scare when I was setting up the options for this, because after I saved blowing the window size up to another size, we're still in 4:3 aspect ratio, but whatever. After I saved blowing this up to a larger dimension, it went back to being in Japanese and I had to repatch it. That was very weird, but thankfully it was an easy fix. I assume there's a much easier fix that I just could not exactly figure out, because running Japanese language applications on an English language Windows install tends to produce absolute gibberish. Like, not even Japanese characters that I could just be like, hey, let me go track down one of my 2 or 3 friends. I could go track down Kirai Overdrive or someone and be like, hey, you speak at least some of this language. You speak a fuckload of it more than I do. What does this say? How do I make this into a language that I actually understand? And yeah, thank goodness I didn't have to do any of that. So yeah, and between that, I'm up real late. I had COVID a couple of weeks ago. I've been putting together some steps of a video about Bubsy, so that's a thing that I've been thinking about, and basically I'm probably not in the greatest mood to be doing this, and I'm a little tired, just in general. Just don't know how well I'm going to stay awake here, but we're gonna start in on this and we're going to see how we feel about this. And I have no idea what the controls are going to be like, by the way, because I'm on keyboard and mouse. Brilliant.
母なる太陽と3つの惑星を持つグラール太陽系、そこに住むヒューマンと彼らから生まれたキャスト、ニューマン、ビースト、4つの種族は500年にもわたる戦争後、互いに共存する道を選んだ。
These are some good subtitles, aren't they? By that I mean you can't read them.
滅びの足音は近づいていた。
はい。ルミエか。今バイトが終わったところ。わかったよ。これから裏道で急いで行くから。よっ。
He's got a hoverboard, just like in Back to the Future 2 or something. I guess they really wanted to make this guy look, like, really cool. But also, wow, what a dated thing to have in a video game. Oh, he got hit by a car in a space station. Sure, okay.
足が。
すみませんでした。大丈夫ですか？
大丈夫なわけないだろ。
足を怪我されたんですね。
Well, it appears that they don't draw that anywhere in the textures, but...
いかがですか？
え？あ、痛くない。治ってる。
よかった。
ありがとう。今のテクニック？あ、俺イーサン・ウェーバー。
私は
式に遅れます。急ぎましょう。
そうですね。
それでは失礼するよ。
Ethan Weber, who has never seen Resta before, I guess. And they just barely managed to dodge his hoverboard.
あ、いっけね。待ち合わせに遅れる。
I'm sure you would have been fine if you hadn't gotten hit by a car. Here's the sequence from the title screen. Alright, so I think we're finally getting into things a little bit. We may be able to have control in a moment. Oh, I should have come down. I should come over here with a big glass of water. My throat's getting a little dry already. I've been talking all day too, so well, all day as in like the recording session was like maybe hour and a half to 2 hours earlier. Sheesh.
だってもう式典始まってるんだもん。よく見える場所を探さないと。ほら、お兄ちゃん早く。
はいはい。
Oh, those animations are just not going over properly. You can really tell this is a game from like 2004. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go double check what the exact year on this is. Did I close that tab recently? Yes, I did. Pardon me, did I say 2004? I meant 2006. Still definitely from an age, an era. I say age because it's aged. Actually, I feel like my frame rate's dipping a little bit. The linear line as opposed to the square line. Sorry. Alright, so... Oh yeah, my frame rate is definitely, This feels like a little bit off. It's minor, but whatever. It's minor, but it's enough for me to point it out. Eh, there's probably nothing for you to worry about right now. Don't you worry, kid. Alright, so home is our menu key. Can we see anything useful here? We can see a stat block that is something I'll talk about later when it actually comes up. You can see that I don't really know how to operate this menu properly. We have... These are clothes. So, nothing really big to look at in there. None of the rest of that is of much use right now. This is... Okay, this is an elevator. We go straight up to the 4th floor. As Lumia absolutely freaks out. Back there on the right. That's our right, right? Kid, where are you going? How do I operate the camera? That's going to be a bit of a problem if I don't have access to camera controls. Can I access my controls from here? Like, I know that there's a camera control, I just don't know what it is offhand. And see, I would think this is what I would want to be able to look at, but it looks like I can't do it. Oh, camera controls, there we go. Camera falls here. I'm gonna have to look at that more later on. Oh, I think down just... Or is that just because I turned there?
エアボードで行けばいいじゃないか。
二人乗りは禁止でしょ。
気をつけろや。
おい、ちょっと待った。
なんで？
今あんたが取ったもの返しなよ。
何言ってねえよ。俺は何も取ってねえぞ。
ルミア、ポケット見てみろ。
That'd be pretty quick if he did, actually.
見せたカードがない。
ほら見ろ。あ、待て。
Unfortunately, buddy, you should probably keep an eye on him while she's checking to make sure her credit card didn't get stolen. And now he's on the train. And it's like the very back of the train. Well, rip train level. What video games need train levels? Let's... This guy's already hard to relate to because he is much more graceful on that thing than I could ever be. Good question. Okay, so it would appear that the left button just putting the camera behind. Okay, yes, the left button is just putting the camera behind me. You know what? As long as I can hash out the rest of the controls, that'll do. Wait, I don't think suspicious looking is a very descriptive descriptor. Let's make sure real quick that the guy didn't go somewhere else and try to bamboozle us, but it looks like this is probably going to be the only direction. Wow, that's probably deserved, actually. There's apparently only the one shady-looking guy on this entire ship, and it's a dude with a cutoff.
妹のカードを返せ。
俺の兄弟で何の用だ。
兄貴、こいつが因縁をつけてきやがるんでさ。
The one guy just looks like a puppy.
まあまあ、そう興奮せずに。俺たちはボル三兄弟。この辺りじゃちょっと知られたワルだ。悪いことは言わねえ。怪我しねえうちにけんな。
やだね。
やだこいつ俺たちの怖さを知らねえらしいな。しょうがねえ。体に教えてやるよ。
The only shit. The only weapon you've got is your skateboard, sir. This may be
意外とやるじゃねえか。
1v3. You're going in pretty deep here.
お兄ちゃん
I'm pretty sure Puppy Dog Man alone would kick our butts.
バカって何よ。
ちょうどいい。捕まえろ。
ルミア、逃げろ。
It sounds like a puppy dog. Jeez.
やだ離してよ。
Never mind, this game is fucking great. Okay, it's only because of Dog Man. Although the other guy who basically has what looks like an afro but shaped like a butt is kind of funny.
さっきの続きやがれ。
お兄ちゃん卑怯よあんたたち。
なんとでもいい。ほらさっきの威勢はどうしたんだ。ルミアしゃがめ。
Amazing. And this is why we quickly learn not to taunt somebody.
ありがとう。
Like, ever.
くっそーもう遠さがり来たぞ。
お兄ちゃん
大丈夫。下がってろ。
Oh, he's got a knife. Apologies to any Australian viewers I may have ever.
お前ら何やってる？ギーガーディアンズだ。
お前ら命拾いしたな。
I like this guy's big red collar on his,
待て。
逃げたか。お祭り騒ぎにはああいうのが多くてね。
but also, wow, so few people here with sleeves
ありがとうございます。助かりました。
of very specific
何？
things.
ちょっとお兄ちゃん助けてくれたのに
Okay,
何て
Ethan,
こと
don't be
言
a
うの。
dick.
俺一人で十分だったのに。
はあ。
Sure.
腕に自信がある
You
みたい
sure
だ
about
な
that, buddy?
試してみるかい。
お兄ちゃ
With
ん
what?
バカなこと言わないの。すみませんまだガキなので許してください。さ行こう式典に遅れちゃうよ。
That guy could tie you into a pretzel, Ethan. Come on. I'm sure it's a long story that they just aren't going to tell us for like a million years. I appreciate the tiny loading screen there. The black section between each
あの子は。
each scene
お
is
兄ちゃ
short.
ん知ってるの。原始の巫女のミレイ様だよ。
原始の巫女。
グラール教団の象徴精霊の使いとしてあらゆるものを見抜く力を持ってるんだって。
あの子が。
巫女様
I'm not sure how you don't know any of this. This seems like a pretty big deal.
精霊のご加護があり
But
ますよ。
again,
お祈りいたします。
they have to reveal stuff to you somehow, I guess. Front row. What indeed? Because those are some.
皆さん、この場から早く逃げて。
Those look like lasers. I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to be, but like just because they're so blue and I mean things are like my initial thought was like, oh yeah, like some sort of, you know, fast moving space junk, you know, like how comets are usually represented, but wouldn't that be on fire in a way that would typically be represented very orange in like anything? That's probably not a good idea. Couldn't one of you at least ask, like, if they have any idea what's going on? They won't be able to tell us much of anything, but I would like a little bit more explanation, because this is certainly some funky particles we're getting in here. Alright, that way is probably still blocked. Go back to the train platform.
もうみんな避難しちゃったのか。
あっちは瓦礫で塞がってるよ。
Ooh.
歩いていくしかないな。なんだ。ルミア、こっちに来い。
やだ、怖いよ。
ルミア。
Ah, yes, good old too scared to run syndrome. I mean, honestly, I have never been in that position, so maybe it's less ludicrous than I think. But also, oh no.
ルミア。
お兄ちゃん。
ルミア、怪我はないか。
大丈夫。でもこの瓦礫のせいでそっちに行けないよ。
わかった。助けを呼んでくるから待ってるんだ。いいな。
待ってる。
Ethan, where is she gonna go? Actually, I think that is me asking questions I don't know if I want the answer to. That's probably gonna lead somewhere a little worrying in that regard. Alright, so we can't go over there. It looks like our best bet is gonna be to go back toward Mr. Pop Collar Man. How is the volume, by the way? Because this music is pretty intense. I was not prepared for this because I don't remember what any of the soundtrack is like. There's also the problem of how we go between chambers like that and everything just faded out for a second. I mean, for a start, Ethan, maybe you're supposed to go the way that the guy tells you to go. That might help you out a little bit. Oh, it's probably something, that's for sure. Yeah, I got nothing to say to that, really, but...
すまんな。今は相手してる暇がなくてな。早くシェルターに。
妹が瓦礫に閉じ込められて早く助けないと。
わかった。
You gotta too. Oh
本部に連絡
boy.
するよ。
Good subtitling.
本部、こちらレオ。瓦礫に女の子が閉じ込められているらしい。救援を要請する。了解。すぐに救援部隊を派遣する。ああ。もうちょっと待ってな。救援部隊が来る。
ありがとう。助かったよ。
なに、気にするな。
もう誰もいなくてどうしようかと思ってたんだ。
おう、あの時の威勢はどこかに行っちまったかな？
Found you limit already, buddy.
余計なお世話だ。
おいおい、俺は心配してんだぞ。お前は自分を過信してるようだからな。
自分を信じて何が悪い？
お前は確かに強いかもしれん。だが、この世の中、何でも一人でできると思うな。それを見誤ったら、ひどい目に遭うぞ。
あんたの言ってることはさっぱりわからないよ。
Quit being that guy. Come on.
いずれわかる時が来るさ。
Oh, you're gonna go through some. You're gonna go through some loss, buddy. Just putting that on the table now. I do remember. Dear God, what?
なんだあれは。
That
何か出てくるぞ。
is definitely whatever was. Well, probably whatever was cleaving through space earlier. That's pretty damn organic, though. Yikes.
おっさん大丈夫か？おっさんちょっと借りるよ。
It's okay, it's a laser gun. It shouldn't have very much recoil, if any. Well, saying that, I suppose that it's not real, so I wouldn't necessarily be able to weigh in on that one way or the other.
一体何なんだ？
That's a pretty good question. It's
おい、
creepy as hell.
しっかりしろ。
体がしびれて動かねえ。
どうしたらいいんだ？
You did take a pretty hard fall on
部隊が
the
来れば薬はあるが、
presumably metal ground of the space station.
妹さんも危険だ。俺の装備を持っていけ。妹さんのそばに行ってやるんだ。
Alright, he's just gonna give us this.
わかった。
Oh, we're starting off with something fairly simple. Alright, Leo, don't go dying on us, because you seem pretty cool. Ooh, handy. You have a cell phone. Alright, so this is like a reverse train level, basically. Alright, now time to figure out the controls, because I don't have any idea. Oh. Alright, so that's simple enough, at least. And we have to press up in order to switch to our offhand. So we're pressing up and down at the same time first. I think I'm going to want to plug in a controller for this at some point because that sounds like dog shit. It's actually not that bad, but still. Yep. Let's save. I legitimately only fired this up earlier to make sure that it worked. Okay, we can't hold the left button in order to keep the camera, like, locked behind us, otherwise we go into that sort of strafe sneak mode, which is unfortunate. Alright, what you got, Chief? You saw the weird purple particle thing too, didn't you? Alright, so what's our targeting button here, I guess? Gonna be the big question. Because if I had to fight without targeting, that could get to be a bit of a mess. Also, yeah, you can see that we were doing 0 damage there. That's just because we didn't hit. It's a little weird that they don't show us a hitting marker, or a miss marker, rather. And Q is going to be to enter and leave first-person perspective. These controls are definitely very odd. Who comes up with this as a default control scheme? Well, I suppose that the one for PSO is a little bit funny too, but still. How's our... Yeah, we got 6 of those. Nice. It's a pretty decent set of stuff to start with. I don't think we have any semblance of mouse control whatsoever. I'm going to take a moment to take a look at our stats and basically run down that we know what hit points are. You'll notice that we don't have magic points. Those are... Actually, wait a second. I could be wrong about this but I think that TP is actually our technique power in this game as opposed to technique points, which is what it was in Phantasy Star Online. But as far as I know, our basic equivalent of MP is bound to our weaponry. And I'll show that off in a second. ATP is attack power. ATA is a measure of attack accuracy. So yes, that goes up with our level, our ability to hit, and also depending on our class. TP then appears to be technique power. DFP is defense. EVP evasion. MST is mind strength. That was at least your magic stat in PSO. Here it might just be like magic defense. STA is stamina, maybe? Wow, I'm gonna be honest, I was expecting to look at that and be like, yeah, it all makes total sense. So right down here, actually, let me pull this window over to the side here and make sure that my mouse is showing up properly. Okay, good. So that number down there is our amount of... I think they're called photon points in this game. Yeah, PP. So photon points for how much... again, basically serving as your MP. Measure of your points for using photon arts, which will be stuff like that Rising Strike. And they recover over time. Oh, also, our gun just uses those for normal attacks. Ranged weapons are different from a lot of your other weaponry in that instead of special attacks like, say, our sword is getting, they just get attacks that change their element. At least in the story campaign, that is true. And that will raise the cost of shooting with them, but again, we'll see that later on. There's the northeast. Alright. What we got for us? Well, we got something that's part of a cutscene. Received sword. Alright. Let's take a look at this real quick. Alright. Want to open the main menu. Okay, I've been using the home key, I think it is. Alright, that's pretty simple. Press and hold E to this one. Gotcha. Easy enough. Alright. So we'll put that in our second slot. And we also are going to have to add our items to... Oh no, that's a separate thing entirely. Never mind. Alright. Yeah, so if we want to use an item, we just go over to the side. That was a bit silly because we only had to recover 2 HP, but whatever. It's fine. So right now, we don't have any photon art for our sword, and as you can see, this thing is taking up both of our hands. We cannot switch over to our gun during this, and not even just because I don't have it as part of the palette. We would not be able to equip both at the same time. This thing is far too big. But it does have a pretty decent sized sweep that it hits in, and it does pretty good damage. It's just slow as molasses. I don't know that I'm going to be using this type of weapon a lot, but I don't see why I can't show it off a little bit. Yeah, you can see this thing is actually getting hits in on us. However, we can hit multiple enemies at the same time if we aim properly. That's a big if, especially coming out of me. We're just going to switch back to this for now. I'm, again, pretty sure that the sword is not going to be anywhere near our standard issue of gear. There's... One of the main things that I remember is that spears are ridiculously overpowered in this game, though, so we're going to be using some pretty big melee weaponry, and I can just feel Plastic Alan crying as I say that spears are good. Don't watch this, Alan. You will be very upset. If you've already started, oops. Also, yeah, I'm going to absolutely make the mistake of trying to hit up to recenter my camera all the time. And try to press down to pick stuff up. If you see that happen, that's why. It's because I'm remembering the previous game in the series. Hey. How hard is it to... Oh, right. Gotta remember who's in control here. Also, we just picked up an item that is a crafting ingredient. So, there's a crafting system in this game for building gear. Don't know how much we'll be using it, but it can be a decent way to get some pretty solid gear for a reasonable price. Assuming, of course, we manage to actually get all the parts to make any of it. Which is a big assumption, as you would probably guess. I mean, these fights aren't really that hard. Yeah, so we've already demonstrated using items, using the tool palette, so no need to see that tutorial. I'm a step ahead of the game this one time. It's probably not going to happen ever again. Don't get used to it. It's these nerds again. Or specifically, the fact that the guy stole his sister's credit card. That's probably going to be completely forgotten about. Alright, we're a group of 3 now. We should be able to... get a lot done, in theory. Although in practice, I don't know. I'm just hoping they're not like the Porky and Picky of the game, you know? It's been a while since I've played this, and I don't know offhand. Of course, we're also defanging the fight pretty heavily for these folks. You can see that Noval has the 2 guns, Doval has this. I think the term the game uses is knuckles for those weapons. Unlike Sonic, they don't chuckle. Wait a second. Like the security system has been compromised. Physical damage. They somehow have some sort of jamming signal. I mean, honestly, at this point, I could believe either of those. The ability to repair itself. So I'm assuming more of the jamming signal type of thing. That is slightly weird. The Dogman's face just keeps getting funnier, by the way. I just want to point that out. Oop. Sorry, I just bonked my entire mic. Ah! One thing to pay attention to, by the way, this is something that is not going to be too much of a matter for a little while, but when the enemy's name pops up in the upper left corner, there's an icon next to it that indicates its elemental type. And if you want to do more damage, if you use the correct element, these are all dark type enemies. So if we have a light elemental damage source, that will cause us to be able to hurt them more. However, that's not going to be a thing for a little bit. Probably not Definitely not in this stream. Probably not even in the next, honestly. If I can just get my words together. Ever an issue, right? Ooh, also, yes, our photon arts all have levels, and the one that we have for the saber, Rising Strike, just leveled up. That's nice. It's going to do some more damage. However, it is going to get a little more costly as we go, which means that we will definitely want to, at some point, get hold of a weapon with a better amount of points in it, if we want to be able to spam those techniques a little more, which we probably are. Especially with certain other weapons that we'll pick up later, but with this one too. Like, look at the damage that we do with this in the period of time. It also has a stun effect because it launches enemies into the air. This is good all around. And excuse me. Sheesh. And here we've got this weird looking glass panel on the floor. Buttons in the right order. Me. Drops. No, but we got another wave of enemies. And one that begins with me completely missing the target. Okay, there's our key. Oh, I thought there were going to be two for this here. Ah, right. Hey, remember your controls. That's not gonna happen. Can we pull up a map of the area? Yeah, here we go. Alright, so it looks like there's a whole side area that we've just neglected entirely. I'm sure it'll be fine. If we end up having to backtrack for it, whatever. It'll be fine, I swear. You can also see that we are running up a little bit in terms of our limit on PP here. We're pressing it a little bit because we're not recovering very quickly. And we're really abusing our Rising Strike for pure damage. But it definitely does the job. Especially, what, 6 a cast? That's pretty good. And it just drastically reduces the longevity of these enemies. Plus, any sort of stun locking effect this early on, that's helpful. Unfortunately, these dudes don't seem to really take to that too much. Which is a shame, because they're pretty irritating. Let's try using this to at least soften these up a little bit, because there's a large group of them. Oh, that was a pretty cool attack out of Doval. That's pretty great. I am appreciating these guys a little more as we go. Alright, here we are at the end of things. Oh, wow. Not having our weapon equipped causes it to not regenerate PP. That's pretty butts. That is pretty butts. I am no great fan of that, let me tell you what. However, there's a heal spot over there. We should be able to regenerate our... Oh, it's because the trial just ended. Neat. Yes, it has been a very long time. I meant to get back in gear last month, but some things didn't go very well. I got sick. And I also meant to have a little bit more video stuff all put together for some upcoming projects. And I haven't gotten on top of that as well as I'd wanted to because, like I said, I got sick. But we're back to it, and I'm going to be doing a very late night schedule. This is not quite on schedule for me, I don't think. I got to sort of change up my feelings in that a little bit. Basically re-decide when it's going to be, when my streams are going to be scheduled for, because I had an idea before, and then I just kind of changed it, and yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad it's not nearly as bad as the last few. Of course, with the first two shots, I felt kinda not so great. Third one, I was fine, but there was still the matter of, you know, I'd gotten ill before. Well, actually, let me piece that together better. So, I got my booster, you know, third shot toward like mid-January, and I was like, okay, I'm probably going to be wiped out for a couple of days, whatever, make sure I have all my affairs in order, and I pretty much did. Unfortunately, what happened was I got sick like a few days afterwards, like actually contracted Omicron. Because it turned out that my dad had been exposed to it by someone at work, and basically the entire family caught it like 2 days after we had all gotten our shots. And here's the thing. The COVID vaccine and its boosters are not instantaneous. Like, it takes a little bit, as with any vaccine, for your immune system to build up resources to be able to fight the virus properly. So, basically, yeah, we got it at legitimately the last minute, basically. At least until, you know, well, last minute basically until probably about mid-year, when I'm sure that things will have gone in such a direction that a 4th shot will become the minimum requirement. I mean, I don't like to think that way, but unfortunately. So yeah, at the end of every mission, we get a ranking based on how fast we cleared the level. I'm surprised that 823 is enough for max points. I'm pretty sure 700 is max points. And that what happened was we didn't kill enough enemies because we didn't encounter enough. We just didn't go down that one side path where presumably there would be a couple more things for us to fight. Oh, so are we not recovering our PP by standing in that thing? That's a shame. Because I'm pretty sure there's another fight for us to have to deal with pretty soon after this mission, if I recall correctly. And I don't. It's been about 15 years since I've played this game. So we may be in a bit of a position that's not super nice, to say the least. But we'll see how this goes. Again, a little bit seat of our pants here. You just missed a pair of goggles, buddy? Those seem like something that'd stand out pretty good. Alright. There we got some goggles. Alright. These are going to be used the same as any other tool. I believe... That moment when I just skip over the tutorial... Yeah, see, it's just like this. Yeah, they're added in already. Yeah, we don't get the goggles, as it were, until that cutscene. They were technically there, but apparently Ethan just doesn't know what a pair of goggles looks like, or something. Or they materialized, I don't know. Ethan doesn't have it in him to explain that he's just a rogue who's doing good stuff, and, well, he's technically doing things with the Guardians, but you know, not truly in their employ. Ah, okay, here's where we're going to start getting the backstory. Through the same music that's been playing through this entire cutscene. Ooh, okay. His parents died when they were young. Again, very much an anime thing, and he's sort of misblaming things a little bit, I would say. But, you know, I'm not necessarily here to do too much deep analysis about the plot of this right now. Let's save that for when things get a little bit dicier, because I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Alright, let's pop out our goggles again. Target. 3 quick whacks with the saber, and there we go. And yeah, we've got some more enemies to fight. Joy of joys. Oh, these ones are level 2 now. They're, in theory, going to be a little bit tougher. Probably only marginally. They sort of make machop noises when they die. Alright, now surely this is... No? Is there not going to be, like, any optional chunks for me to break up? That's a little weird. Oh, no, here we go. Ooh, wow. Gave us a Trimate. We are not going to really have a ton of use for that for a while, because that's a full heal, and usually lower grade healing items are going to cover that for us. I'm pretty sure they're flat heals in this game, too. I guess I could double check. Even then, I probably wouldn't bother using it until it's the sort of thing that we can pick up in greater quantity. Okay, so it's not going to tell us too much specifics. But again, if it's anything like what PSO was like, and again, that's where a lot of my memory comes from on this one, then, well, that's just going to be something that's going to take up bag space for a little bit. Which, admittedly, 50 slots of bag space is not horrible, although those crafting ingredients are going to start taking up a bit of space. Tough to say, overall. I'm sure it'll be fine, though. Probably. Alright, so there's a little bit of stuff we can do over here. That's a pretty good description of what those enemies are like. They got a little bit of the Pachycephalosaurus thing going on. With the weird reverse horn on the head. And another little hiccup in the music as we switch areas. Is there something special about this particular platform that lets you tell that, Ethan? Maybe I just don't know very well. Camera. This is not the place where we look. It's somewhere else. Or is it just walk down to the cutscene, I guess? And there's a nice big chunk. Yep. Same placement as before. Uh-oh. Here comes something big. Oh boy. Sure about that? Alright, so this is definitely going to be the fight where they really want us to, like, actually try being a little more tactical, but Okay, yeah, it does have a real ranged attack. It shoots fireballs. A mutated Pokemon a little bit. Of course, they've given us enough healing items that we should be able to take this without, well, I guess that's a good question as to what constitutes difficulty or frustration in a case like that, because, like, sure, we can just eventually face roll our way through it just by virtue of the sheer amount of durability we have from those healing items. As you can see, we just killed it, though, so that cuts the conversation a little early, doesn't it? And we get a little cash for doing it. Nice. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal for us I don't know if we're going to be able to buy any useful equipment for a little bit, but still. Not bad to have it. Although that said, again, if this is anything like the previous game in the series, if this is anything like the previous game in the series, after a point, money just, like, nothing is terribly expensive. Although maybe in-shop gear, like, stops growing in stats, too. But, again, we will see. As I said, it's been somewhere between 10 and 15 years since I've played this last. Closer to 15. Certainly the game is over 15 years old. Official online support for the game ended over 10 years ago. Damn, when did we all get so old? Did the language just go from English to Japanese? Did that happen in the subtitles? The game is not dubbed. So there is that going on. And the subtitles are not easy to see in a lot of the cutscenes. Like anything, like this, it's fine. It might not be super easy for you folks, but it's white text on a black background. Unfortunately, if it's anything where it's full screen action going on, it's still white text on the background of the scene. There's no letterboxing for any of it, outside of what's presented in cases like this, so it can be a bit of a problem to read the text. 市民生活に対する直接的脅威への対処など協議を進めています。また一方で民間からは太陽系最大手の警護会社であるガーディアンズの総裁オーベル・ダルガン氏が緊急声明を発表しました。That is very possible that this game was rushed to release. I am not 100% certain of the entire history of the dev cycle and everything. But there is also the case where basically ever since the release of Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst, which is the second-ish release of the PC version in America, Sega has dropped the ball horribly on basically everything Phantasy Star related outside of Japan. Keep in mind, we only got a US version, a US release of Phantasy Star Online 2 2 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago now, but it still was it was still more than 5 years into that game's life cycle that they finally made it officially open to people all around the world. Prior to that point, people were using fan translations and a variety of proxies and shit and all of that. And yeah, Sega has basically been the worst when it comes to bringing Phantasy Star to the West. And to be fair, I do believe that Western audiences have not necessarily been the kindest to Phantasy Star in turn, especially starting around this period. I mean, PSO was beloved and had a really huge fan following. I'm trying to remember if maybe private servers started up really early and they were really not happy about that, because I'm pretty sure they were not happy about that if it was going on at the time.
次回ファンタシースターユニバースパルムの親子君の守るべきものは何だ
Also, Ethan has a Haro, but with arms. Yeah, exactly. It is possible to have a relationship with a piece of artwork of any kind, and that includes video games, that is not the most straightforward. And, I mean, I'm having a little bit of fun with this at least still, but I'm gonna have things to say at various points. And, yeah. Oh hey, this is the same cutscene that we saw at the beginning of the first chapter, but without cutscenes. I probably could just skip over it, but just in case there's like something at the tail end of this that's different, I don't want to. Even if I am going to keep talking over it. No, I'm pretty sure this is legitimately just the same sequence in order to project the episodic nature of it. This is the same musical number as before, so like it's absolutely set up like an opening theme. Again, I described this as being the point where the series really starts to descend into being anime. And you can kind of feel that they're pushing that vibe a little bit with this, right? Really, I didn't even notice that. There's a lot of references in the MMORPG era Phantasy Star stuff to other Sega franchises, so that doesn't entirely surprise me. Like, I mean, there's a lot. In PSO, in the original Phantasy Star Online, you could get a pretty good amount of weapons and mags and shit that were all you can have a mag, which is a little helper thing in PSO, based on the cats and the mice from Choo Choo Rocket. There's a weapon called the Sonic Knuckle, and I'm pretty sure that's literally just Knuckles' gloves. There's the Egg Blaster, which is themed after Eggman's little gun robot from Sonic Adventure 2. There's a lot of stuff like that. There's also obviously a lot of there's a lot of references obviously to other to previous Phantasy Star games, as you would expect. But it's like a whole different continuity as far as I understand. Then again, I think there's been at least a little bit of flightiness with that kind of stuff forever.
そうだ。んじゃ、今日からお前はピートだ。
ピートですか？
Pete, that's a
前に飼ってたペットの名前さ。
oh, name of a pet that he used to have.
今日からピートになります、ウェーバー様。
いいさんでいいよ。
I'm probably just gonna keep calling this thing. I'm probably just gonna keep calling this thing Haro forever.
ああ、でも俺昨日ここに来たばかりだからどこに何があるか全然わかんないんだよ。
Alright, Peter, are you our tutorial robot? What can you tell me about this room? It exists. I mean, we got a bench against a window in space. That would scare the shit out of me. But it is what it is. We got some trophy stands over there if we so desire to put anything in there. That's something that, well, we may or may not push for the highest rank in all of the repeatable missions later on. And the odds are actually the odds are pretty low that I'll do that, because some of them can be absolutely horrendously difficult to pull off because the time constraints are so tight. I definitely remember that. Fancy alarm clock. I mean, I guess so. You also have, like... Do you also have item storage or something for us? Ooh, we get to go down to slightly off translation of one of the planets from Algol. Oh, right, that's a reference to the original Phantasy Star continuity. Planet is under canon. Yep, it's all robots. What remains was created artificially. Excuse me. Approximately 1 billion humans. That's a lot of humans, relatively speaking, because that's quite the population shrinkage too. So it's both a human and caste sort of center. Although only 100 million robots. Well, I guess, you know, resources. And again, space travel, I don't know. It's just that those numbers are, like, really small looking to me. The struggle to expand beyond, you know, beyond whatever planet humans started out on was definitely a struggle, I guess. Alright, we gotta go up to the 5th floor. Can we make any sort of pit stops whatsoever? Really using nanotransformer? Yes. It's true. Our inventory stock is, here of extra items and equipment. Yes, good. I'm very grateful for this. Because your inventory gets clogged fast. Alright, we're probably not gonna be allowed to do any sort of, side stuff, which is unfortunate because it would be nice to go and get some different equipment, is what I'm trying to say. Unfortunately, as we all know by now, I'm not so good at the words. 3 months to restore a whole space station that got some pretty huge amount of damage done to it. Not bad, all told. Alright, so it looks like they are going to allow us to mess around for a bit here. Room decoration, that's not a big deal. Synthesis, this is where we go to make our items, but we can't go in there yet. We haven't unlocked that as a thing yet. Weapon upgrades. That'll be useful later. We're probably going to want to switch out to new weaponry entirely. Armor. Also important eventually, I swear. However, getting different weapons is going to affect our abilities that we have. What do we got here? We got... Well, we don't have the type of weapon that I'm looking for right now. However, I seem to recall that either the Twin Saber or Twin Dagger are fairly solid choices. So, I'm going to try out the Twin Dagger. And we should probably see about grabbing technique for these. 3 hits. Interesting. Can also go down here. We can see... Yeah, so we've got a fire, ice, and lightning attack. We're going to pick up the ice attack. I think that frozen hit is going to be fairly effective in an upcoming area. Like, very soon after we've started. If not, it's still a little extra damage. And eventually, we might have a pretty solid chance of being able to freeze our enemies. So that is not exactly bad. Yeah, see, this boosts our attack. It's only 5%, but it's... You know, it costs nothing, basically, to add that to it, except for the money that it costs us to start with. We'll explore some more of that stuff in a little more depth in the future, I'm sure. Let's go in here. I don't think there's any real armor upgrades that we can get at this point. Let's take a look at our line shield here. Okay, it's the control buttons. Alright, so this will give us a little more evasion, but 1 less defense. However, it has an arm slot on it. That is a pretty good reason for me to pick that up. I mean, again, we're reducing our defense by a tiny amount, and we're getting 2 evasion points, which is not going to be very much, but still. The addition of a slot lets us get some add-ons for this. Get an additional 6 attack or an additional 6 accuracy. I'm going to pick up the accuracy one because we saw that I was missing a few times during that first mission. So it might be nice to have a little extra accuracy going for us. Oh, we want to sell... We're going to sell our sword because we're not going to use that very much. And we're going to sell our old shield. So that's the thing setting-wise, is that our armor is basically not visible. It's pretty much all photon stuff based on these line shields. So you'll have characters in completely not necessarily practical outfits. Instead, it's an excuse for fan service ultimately, but you didn't hear that from me. Unless you did. In which case, well, I don't know what to say. Well, I guess that's one way to get the information. I mean, to be honest, my feelings on it are like, well, fair enough. I sort of look at this relationship that a lot of this stuff has. Basically, this is definitely the point where the Phantasy Star series absolutely leans into, we're going to have this sort of completely magical photon armor, and we're using that to encourage characters to be in various levels of being fashion victims for reasons of not being armored. I mean, it gets up to a point where PSO2 is very, very fan servicey. I don't know, Irene, if you've been around to see any of that, or if you've seen any of that outside of this stream. But the way I sort of regard it is that I feel that Sega is at least being a little bit more open about it than, say, Hideo Kojima was being about quiet. You know, it's sort of the principle behind what Yoko Taro said about 2B's design. He's like, it's because that's what I like. And it's a little hard to argue with that. If someone just goes, because I wanted to, and you can just go, yeah, okay. And I mean, these excuses are nowhere near as good as that, but it's a little bit closer, and I don't know, I think maybe the problem is just that I've hit a certain level of, I guess, at least a little bit of skepticism when it comes to Kojima. Probably just because I haven't really liked a Metal Gear game very much since Metal Gear Solid 3. And even MGS3, I sort of was acknowledging that that was a bit of a self-indulgent project in a regard. It just happened to also be one that I liked, so... Here, look at my trainer card. Play it into the machine, and yeah. Are you going to be the person that we see here every time? Maybe so. Oh yeah, MGS4 absolutely is, MGS4 is infamous for its ending sequence of cutscenes being like literally the length of a movie. And fair enough, Kojima has always been a film buff, and I feel like he's always wanted to be a movie maker more than necessarily a game maker. Although, you know, trying to strike a little bit of a balance, right? So, yeah. Well, we'll find out what kind of a person they are when we get there. Yay, our bus pass has been renewed. We can go to another planet. We can talk to people around here. We can actually be surprised that the uniforms in this game for these folks, like, it's kind of revealing, but the ones in PSO were a little more so. We'll probably see that at some point. I will probably go through that game's story mode and show that off, because I enjoy that game, and I enjoy the story of it, and I enjoy the way that it's given to you. Olsen, I think that's a slight mistranslation. That's by first name reasons, right? I don't know if robots have a sense of humor, buddy. Yeah, see? Can't tell from the metallic lines in the face. This guy's calling us boss already, or if we, I don't think that... That was a scam artist, Ethan. Goofus. Alright, so... Here's the thing that I'm a little bit torn on. If you take a look at these signs, you can at least somewhat identify that these are written in sort of a sci-fi font for replacing English letters. So we can tell that the shuttle station to go to Parum is the one all the way over here because it has the shortest name. Obviously, that's going to be a bit less useful for the other two planets that both have 7-letter names. But I don't know how I feel about that because they're borderline unreadable, you know? But they're also, like, literally just standing in for English characters as opposed to any sort of made-up language or anything. Well, yeah, I guess a little bit, but those are... Do those have different textures on them? I have not necessarily paid attention to that. Blame unknown for... I guess that's something to it, but it's a thing that I've seen in much older games. I did a video recently on Omicron the Nomad Soul, and that had fonts like that, and they were obviously actively trying to make things harder for you. Meanwhile, this is not really the case. It's there for flavor. I just don't know how to feel about it as a thing.
これが地平線ってやつか。すっげえ。
18年前、市の中心部で謎の大爆発が発生。メルバーシティは一瞬にして廃墟となりました。残 残された廃墟が被害の凄まじさを物語っています。
Oh man, that is wild.
ファンタスシティに到着いたします。
So I guess we're sort of seeing a step-by-step instance of Darkfall's emergence. They sound like Marth teeth. Oh, also, I guess I just spoiled that. Again, the plot is relating to the same villain that the entire Phantasy Star series always is. Oops. It's pretty big. Are we gonna see that scam artist again? Oh, that's just me. Well, being able to read the signs would help. Tell me what's going on, green fella. Hey, I just wanted to say that you look kind of like a Kamen Rider. Is that not cool around here? No, it's because this setting is full of racism. Fantasy racism, anyway. Right, yeah. That I knew was true, because, of course, I've played a couple of the old Smash Brothers games. I see the secretary is very drunk this time. Or has a bad accent? Question mark? Right, so recently prepared Android, and somebody really screwed up the language program, I suppose? West District. That seems like a wow okay moment for you, Ethan, but I'm not going to get into that. Bad language at meme levels like Cats is? Not quite. Again, Ethan, you can't see any of the... I don't think Ethan actually knows what casts are, so he's unable to process any sort of understanding that that's not a human being. I mean, he's never left the space colony, so... But see, that sounds impressive, but I'm pretty sure that it would make my memory card shit its pants if that was the case. That's just a scam artist, anyway. I mean, at least let the rest of the conversation happen. I want to know what this guy's price point is for something that would... what this realistic scam number... Yeah, no, so far the translations are, like, actually good. I absolutely do remember Cats and Zero Wing. I have never played Zero Wing. I've heard that the game is actually very good. But yeah, translations, there's a couple of moments that are a little hit and miss. We saw one earlier, but so far, it seems like it's not terrible. But we may yet see it be really not great.
こんなところで恥ずかしいわ。
僕のこの手が君を離さないんだ。
いけないわ。もう行かなきゃ。
お取り込み中悪いんだけどコルトバジュースを頼むよお姉さん。
失礼しました。少々お待ちください。
Oh, this guy seems like fun.
相変わらず野暮な男ですね、イーさん。
ヒューが女と見れば口説くな。
I guess his name is
こっちはいい
Hyuga.
迷惑だよ。
僕は一期一会を大切にしているんです。
He also looks like he's 12. No offense. At least his face.
勝手にしてくれ。
Also, I see he's one of those
俺のパートナー
people.
はここで待つように言われたんだけどな。
Hyuga would absolutely have an NFT avatar if this were
女らしいんだ。
奇遇で
Earth.
すね。僕もここでパートナーを待っているんです。まあ、せいぜい振られないように気をつけることですね。
お
He looks like he's a little bit. I can sort of place a little bit of his the character design there, I think.
お待ちしてました。これも精霊のお導きですね。
違うよ。俺のパートナーだってば。
私はカレン・エラー。君たちの指導教官兼パートナーだ。
Yeah, he does look like somebody. I just can't place which one.
君がパートナー？
通常2人1組が基本だが、シード対策で人手不足なんだ。そこは理解してほしい。
Short-staffed, probably because a bunch of people are signing up lately,
ところで
right?
私は先ほどまで君たちの行動を観察させてもらっていた。
Not young Char, yeah.
任務中の私的行為は減点対象だ。気をつけるように。
はい。
そしてイーサン・ウェーバー。
はい。
コロニーから見ていたが、君は無防備すぎるようだ。
Don't laugh
人を
him
信
too
じ
much.
るの
Come
はいい
on.
が、あんなに
I'll
騙
punch
さ
you
れや
later.
すいのでは先が思いやられる。
え？コロニーからってあの女はあんただったのか。
任務の時は細心の注意が必要だ。もっと慎重に行動するように。
はい。
I mean, he
研
stands
修
out a
とって
little
も
bit.
通常任務と
But at
内容
least
は
be
変
able
わ
to-
らない。気を緩めると命を落とすこ
Then
とにな
again,
る。
like I said,
ガーディアンの任
anime.
務はそれ
Purple
だ
hair,
け危
maybe
険
it's
なんだ。
not that weird.
さあ、これから早
Also,
速準備
the
を始めるぞ。
future, but
はい。
はい。
alright, let's go over the mechanics of how the game works. I can hear you speaking, right? Alright, now this time I get the actual HUD stuff, and yeah. At a party? Wow, she's level 7 already. She's ahead of us. Suck it, Hyuga. I won the coin toss. Oh, he's not happy about this. Wow, okay. Actually, I mean, it's probably true. I mean, we did okay earlier, I think. All right. So after all of that, well, it's because he knew that she was going to kick his ass. Oh, maybe I beat the shit. Just a little. Alright, so before we do that, we're gonna go in here, and we're basically fishing for a very small number of pieces of equipment. These don't randomize as far as I know. They stay the same between missions. So even though we were just in a place where we can pick up some gear, we're gonna basically just see that, yeah, not what I'm looking for. Oh well. Not surprised, but you know, maybe that wouldn't prove to be the case. Alright, let's group up and let's do this mission, and I think that's going to be what we do for what's left of our night. As it is rather late. Probably all already recognize. He said he'd be in the Central Plaza, right? There he is. He just apparently hadn't drawn in properly yet. Alright, you scuzzball. Let's go. Alright, we are ready to go for this. This should not be too hard. It'll probably be pretty similar to what we were dealing with before. It may not even have a boss. I don't remember. I am absolutely just assuming at this point. Goggles can check basically everything. Well, I'm starting to get the feeling that Karen has at least some sort of psychic power that is being subtly hinted at. I mean, I know that there's some stuff going on with her plot-wise. She is actually super important to the plot. Far beyond just, oh, she's our commander. But I don't remember the whole specifics of everything because, well, how long has it been since I played this? A while.
あれは
輸送用のカーゴだな。
Oh, somebody's abducting all these weird-looking animals.
エンジンがかけっぱなしだ。ドライバーが見当たらないな。
Well, must be some pretty heavy brakes on it. In that case.
おおなんだこのブサイクな化け物は。
A さん知らないんですか？
初めて見たよ。何なんだ。
コルトバですよ。
これがコルトバ。うまいのかこんなブサイクなのが。
分かってませんね。コルトバはブサイクなほど味がいいって言われてるんですよ。
お前がね。
ガーディアンズの方ですか？そうです。牧場の方ですか？お待ちしていました。私、グリーングリーンファームのノルフェと言います。シードのおかげでコルトバが変なんです。コルトバが？はい、突然凶暴になって襲ってくるんです。怖いのでカーゴに乗って逃げてきたんですが、一緒に逃げてきたカラムがさっきから見当たらなくて。
It looked like they could probably mess you up if they were angry enough, so.
カラムって？牧場主だったライムさんの息子です。私は牧場のお手伝いをしていたのですが、ライムさんはシードの被害で亡くなってしまって、今は私とカラムで牧場を守っているんです。カラムにもしものことがあったら、私はどうすればいいんでしょうか？大丈夫、私たちに任せて。新色の浄化作業とともにカラムも探しておきます。 ありがとうございます。皆さんよろしくお願いします。
I have a feeling this is not going to end very well. You know, just call it a bit of a hunch. This seems like something that's going to end terribly. I'm sure this will only be a slight disaster. Oh look, we got some big piles of hay. Those, I believe, can contain some crafting things for us. Alright, switch back to our twin daggers. Let's test these out a little bit. That spinning attack is pretty neat. It looks like you can do some pretty decent damage if we land better hits. That's a big if, though. And yeah, we have fire element enemies here, so our ice shots are going to come in handy. We've also got a variety of these thunder type elements. Oh wow, I choked on like 6 different words there. These thunder element enemies are weak to ground, as you would not be surprised to hear. But that's pretty hard to come by. Outside of the earth element spell, which is pretty bad. And of course, right now, we don't have access to any actual magic. So, it's not a thing that we're going to worry about for a little while. That's for sure. Excuse me. Wow, it's almost like it's 4 in the morning or something. There we go. There's one that's worth something. Star Atomizer is a pretty nice item that we just picked up. That is a full heal for everyone in range, I believe. Those are usually very valuable, but there's a couple of places in most of the more online-style Phantasy Star games where you can get them with a very high drop rate. Which is good because they're consumable. They probably shouldn't be too hard to get and use. Especially in these sorts of games where you can burn down your HP very, very easily. Look at that. We are landing that freeze status effect with surprisingly good odds, really. And it is doing great work for us. Excuse me. Yeah, I think the odds are pretty good that we're going to be going through this playthrough mostly with a melee character with the Hunter class. I considered doing something else, but this is a little bit jank to use for range stuff, this control setup, and I wouldn't really know a good way to set it up otherwise, other than I guess just plug in a controller and see how that fares for us, which I may do. Nice. Our Rising Strike has risen to level 6 already. Wow. We're doing good work with this. That's one of the big things that contributes to certain weapon types being really, really strong, is the fact that you do level up your photon arts pretty fast for a lot of them. So we're gonna see certain things that, like, I don't even know how to use the words properly. Basically, yeah, we're probably going to hit a place where eventually our gameplay loop is going to be dominated by a very small number of actions. Up until basically the final boss. At least I'm guessing and assuming that my recollection of the game is as good as it is, which I should not do, because it definitely is not. Is there anything there, or is it just a tiny corner of the map? Well, just had to be sure. Oh, it's fine, kid. Don't worry about it. Anything different going on here? No timer to start the trial yet. And nothing in the tree. That's unfortunate. Check over this way. It's just some crates. That's fine. Did cause some enemies to spawn behind us, though. Which, hey, I don't mind. So one good thing that I'm noticing about these twin daggers is that we're getting that multi-hit thing from our regular attacks too, which is pretty good for stun locking, it feels like. I mean, it's not gonna be like a stupendous lock or anything, but it feels like a pretty good weapon for one-on-one fights whenever that's gonna come up again, which maybe it won't do for a while. Oh, also, the big leader enemy there has, like, sort of things on its... Like, it looks like it's got shields, basically, on its hands. I use the term hands loosely, but it's the closest thing that I can think of in terms of what those are. They're hand-like, that's for sure. Ooh, I see we're getting a couple of flying enemies here. They're gonna come up to us. I was gonna say, are we gonna have to go into first person? But apparently not. Although that is definitely a good strategy for dealing with these a little more easily. Let's go back the other way and see if there's anything for us to gain over here. That said, I'm also having a moment of realization that I've been talking up how quickly you can level up photon arts. That's sort of a problem in and of itself too, because you won't always be encouraged to try out new weapon types as a result, because you'll get something, and sure, you can level it up fast, but the weapon types you've already had for a while, your skills are going to be level, like, 10, 15, maybe even 20 for some of them. By the time you get any of it, it's like, well, okay, I'm kicking my own legs out from under myself, damage-wise, by doing this. And that's not so great. Star Atomizer, I think that's going to be the main thing that we get from these trees, which is fine. If nothing else, we'll sell them. As we enter this weird sort of mindset of, well, they're too good to use, let me just sell them. That makes total sense, right? Oh, wait, no, the other thing.
シードのせいでこんなことに。
いや、これはシードの被害じゃない。同盟軍の爆撃の後だ。
なんだって？
このコルトバはまだ侵食はされてませんね。爆発のショックで死んでいます。
二次的な侵食汚染を食い止めるために、この辺り一帯の原生生物を焼き払っているんだ。
そんなひどい。
That's certainly, I mean, yeah, I guess if they're all dead, they can't... Huh. That's still really, really questionable.
勝手に立ち入っては困るな。ここは危険区域なんだ。
我々はガーディアンズだ。シードの浄化に来ている。
177遊撃隊隊長フルエンカーツだ。この一帯は爆撃によって侵食防衛する。浄化の必要はない。
この辺りで子供が一人行方不明になっているんだ。見かけなかったか？
ふん。ガーディアンズは子守りまでしてるのか。早く見つけないとお前たちまで黒焦げになるぞ。
あんたら同盟軍だろ。子供の命が危ないんだ。人命をもっと尊重しろよ。
No.
子供一人のために国民全体を危険にはさらせん。侵食防衛は最優先事項だ。
この野郎。
よせ。相手が悪い。仲間が失礼した。できれば子供を見つけるまで爆撃を待ってもらえないだろうか。
I mean, honestly, again, we can probably deal with some of that stuff all on our own.
浄化をしながら探す。ご心配なく。
We have before.
危なくなったら救難信号を出すんだな。その時は助けてやる。
ご協力感謝する。行くぞ。
That dude's absolutely gonna bomb us at some point.
劣等種どもが。
Yep, turns out the raging races are part of the military, just like in America. Wow. This has become a lot more of a thing over the last 15 years or so. But yeah, as I mentioned before, that's like the major... That's just a major part of the plot in general of this game is basically, hey, wow, there's a lot of racism between, especially the robots. But a lot of the other races are very hostile toward each other too. And it can be a little bit overbearing just as a theme. I think that we've probably sort of reached past a point where we need anywhere near as much fantasy racism in media as there is, and there's a lot of it that crops up, and yeah. How often is it necessary to have that as like a background to...
まずい、シードだ。
あのタイプは初めて見た。
It's not burning up in the atmosphere, which is something. It also produces very little effective impact. Fairly large for something that's well, maybe it's just not very massive. I don't know. You understand what I'm trying to say, though. It sure managed to not do a lot to the nearby environment. Yeah, it costs a little bit of money to recharge our photon points for all of our weapons, but for now, 3 to recharge everything is quite manageable. But yeah, we want to overwrite that. Yeah, this thing definitely lit everything on fire very fast. That's definitely a lot different from the other one. Also, this lighting is producing a very weird shadowing effect. So for some reason, these things just do not affect humanoids. Okay. I don't know why, but sure. Just because it's convenient, I suppose. You're probably not going to be able to get close enough to it that easily. Completely... So just use fire element weapons? Wait, no, that's not. That's too easy. photon eraser. This is going to be something very gimmicky, isn't it? Yep, so this is basically... Alright, so first of all, we're going to have to put the photon eraser onto our palette. So, here we go. We're basically in some sort of firefighter type of game. I'm trying to think of like what would be a good, but there aren't really a ton of them out there, are there? Also, by the way, this part is something that I do not remember whatsoever. So I'm not 100% sure how often this is going to be a thing that comes up. So we gotta make sure that we're actually hitting the damn thing, which is going to be a bit of a recurring issue here. Alright, so we don't actually have to damage those things in the conventional way? Huh. That's weird. That's very weird. But okay. Nothing in this particular region. I gotta say that there's something a little bit awkward about the way you gotta toggle back and forth between the goggles and your weapons. And I suppose it is better than what it would be like in, well, the earlier iteration of this type of game, which I keep mentioning, so I'll try not to do it again, but, well, yeah, some things are a little unavoidable, I suppose. This looks like an area where we're going to have possibly some stuff to do here. Alright, nope, that just lets us open the next security gate. Okay, here's where... And see, we got another fire seed here, so... Neat, we gained another level. A couple of these things. 2-star atomizers out of those 2 barrels. That's pretty nice. Pick this up. There's one right around here. Those are really not doing too much of this work here, are they? Still got one over here that I guess I'm gonna have to do for sure. And that's all this thing had in the tank. Amazing. Alright. Let's open the gate to the next area. Yeah, we can leave here already. Alright, so I guess that these are going to be a little more obvious than I thought before. Yeah, like this. And... Pretty sure there's more. Right? Alright, 4 orbs has been the standard so far. So I'm assuming that that is going to continue to be the case. Yeah, and judging by that noise, I am correct. Alright, and that's Seed Core 2 broken. I'm sure there's going to be a third, and that's going to be as far as this is going to go. Maybe not if the third is right there. This feels like something that would have another area. So maybe it's going to be more than 3, which is kind of surprising because video games, you know, rule of 3 and all that. Video games, just as a medium, love the rule of 3. Clear out the monsters. Give a piece of armor. Wow, that's a pretty unusual drop, it feels like. I think that's our first equipment drop that we've had. Alright, and there's a security passport that just dropped. Ah, yeah, here we go. Yeah, these things are definitely getting a lot more densely packed in this area, that's for sure. Don't stay into the fire, buddy. Go back in the direction we came. Oh, there's a big boy there. Meanwhile, I'm going to deal with the big thing, while these folks do whatever it is they do. Alright. Goggles again. Alright, well there's our security item. And there's 2 to get here. Okay, so I guess that's going to happen after we're done with the seed core. Alright, do you guys want to handle this for me? And I'm going to guess that the last orb for this thing is going to be somewhere out this way. Yeah, and see, literally our only method of attacking with this pistol right now, unless we were to unequip the photon art, is with frozen hits. So we gain the EXP for it super fast as long as we use it. It's a little bit silly. Of course, instead I have been not using it very much, so maybe I'm the one who's a little bit silly here. Pick this up. This thing is still defended. Oh, there's the last orb. I see it up there. Out in the middle of nowhere. Or maybe this goes up to like 5 or something, which would be a slightly more normal number than just ending in the middle of something else. It's clearly not 3 anymore. Or is it 4? Okay. I expected a 3rd area after this, that's all. Nice, perfect score. 1,000 points gives us an S rank, and we got an... No, that's an actual weapon. That's an actual pike. That's pretty nice, but it's mostly more for the fact that we won't have to buy a weapon. Yeah, see, because we don't have a photon art to use with it, which is unfortunate, because the photon art that you can get for spears is really good. And that's a better piece of equipment than we have. I'm going to equip that. Yeah, I'm gonna run around with this thing out, because why not? Well, we jump over it, clearly. Use the spear as a pogo stick. If you ask me to think, I'm going to submit increasingly silly suggestions. Heal. Oh, that wasn't a full thing. Steps, basically. EP recovery units? No? No, that's unfortunate. Because this is absolutely a setup for, oh hey, you're gonna be fighting a boss. Alright, let's go the other way, because, yeah, the blue fences keep us in, too. I'm not surprised, but I don't know what I was thinking. But let's pretend I was for a moment. Pretend is definitely going to be the word there. Excuse me. Oh, the kid just turned around. Or did he? Yeah, he turned around. Checking for crates real quick, and nothing. Back we go. These... Yeah, see what I'm saying? Our skill has already leveled up to level 6 with these weapons. The max level for Photon Arts is 30, I believe. We're gaining levels for these just hand over fist. Granted, we're spamming them a little bit, and we probably should be a little more conservative with them in theory, but if it works, it works. Yeah, plus that skill is getting kind of expensive now. It costs 7 PP to use. That's a lot. And sleep, well, you get some rest. It is a little bit late over here, so I understand that. And good night. Neat. Level 7 for us. Doing pretty good, huh? Oh, they've got the attack buff spell. Neat. Don't think I had noticed that earlier. Now they're breaking out the fireballs too. Enemies are starting to become a bit of a pain, but a lot of this is more the endurance aspect of anything that is frustrating. And even then, it's not that bad. Okay, but here is where we're gonna fight a boss, right? Surely that's a thing that's upcoming. Yeah? Alright, that area is locked, so we're gonna have to clear stuff out over here. And again with this kid running away from us. Maybe getting us trapped in this area. So I really do not remember the recovery rate for PP being this slow. And I'm really starting to feel the squeeze here because, like, wow, this is just so long. We're slowly being starved out of our resources, at least in this one. Hey, at least health isn't a problem and we can still use regular attacks. Enemies all cleared. And there's our security card. I do seem to recall that there are items to recover the PP of your weapons, but they are few and far between. just like ethers and similar items in most RPGs. Because, you know, why should you be able to do stuff, right? Especially if you're playing any of the fun classes. And I got knocked out of first-person view from that thing charging at me. That's unfortunate. I'm also really starting to notice the absolute lack of any, like, real feeling of feedback to getting hit, aside from, oh, you hear a bump noise that is basically the same thing that you keep hearing throughout a lot of the battle anyway. Let's pull them here. So I'm definitely having more NDE than I really should. I'm, you know, I'd probably be healing a little more judiciously, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, if I recognized it a little better. Which, so far, I'm not super good at. Are these actually destructible? They sure are. I'll take some more crafting ingredients. I mean, why not? At some point I will probably put them to use. I don't know if it'll be good use, but it'll be used. Hey, hit the... There, yeah. That'll give you a preview of what that thing's attack combo is like. It's got pretty decent attack range to it and a bit of physical piercing. Alright, so here's another save point after we've had multiple of these sort of mid-area setups. Now this time we're definitely getting a boss, right?
あれがこの辺り一帯の親玉のようだ。
じゃあ、あれを浄化すれば。
この辺りの被害を食い止められる。
Don't say anything like that, jeez.
これは
レリクスだ。
レリクス？
グラール太陽系全体で発見される数千年前の古代遺跡の総称をレリクスというんだ。シードの落ちた周辺では不思議とレリクスが発見されることが多い。
本物は初めて見ました。
レリクスにはわからないことがまだ多い。調査が必要だ。
Oh, I'm sure this'll be,
後で本部に報告しておこう。さあ、浄化作業を始めるぞ。
はい。 E さん置いていきますよ。
ちょっと待って。なんだあれは。
今までのコルトバと全然大きさが違う。
通信速度が異常に高いぞ。気をつけろ。
Ooh, that's a big boy. Let's see how we can deal with this. That's a good way to start. I can see it's not really a fan of me attempting to juggle it. And attacking from the side doesn't seem to have great accuracy. So if we're gonna shoot it, we're gonna not do so much first personing here, I don't think. So one good thing is that our allies do revive over time. And we're not going to have to equip a revival item to our thing, so that's nice. Although again, wow, they really didn't want us to have fun with our skills, because we were using them so much during the main scenario, and they decided not to give us a PP recovery station. I guess that would make this boss too easy. But a couple of times we were pointedly not shooting in the butt. That was those times. There we go. Got it. That took a bit, but we got there in the end. Yeah, we definitely took that really slow. If we'd had actual, any real uses to our weapons to start with, we'd have been able to do that much better.
やめろ。父さんのコルトバに手を出すな。
父さんのってこいつは農場のコルトバだったのか。
よく見ろよ。角にマークがついてんだろ。父さんが大事に育てたコルトバなんだ。お前らこっから出ていけ。危ない。何すんだよ。こいつを頼む。
In fact, this thing is just constantly.
こっちだこっち。こっちだ。誘導するから撃ってください。わかった。
Whatever. He's fine. Main character, etc.
無鉄砲のやつだ。
Oh, ew. like, glowing.
ほらお迎えが来たぞ。
どうもありがとうございました。
いやー余裕でしたよ。
どこが余裕なんですか？
勝手に離れちゃ危ないでしょ。心配したのよ。
父さんにコルトバを守るって約束したんだ。キャストのお前なんかに分かってたまるもんか。
おい待てカラム。
手伝いましょうか、イーさん。
カラム、やっぱり私はカラムの親代わりにはなれないんだわ。私どうすればいいんでしょうか。
待て。
私もあの子と同じくらいの時に両親を亡くしたんだ。その時は自分が世の中で一人ぼっちになったようで。
Nobody has parents because we're in anime land.
でもたくさんの人たちに助けられて今日まで生きてこられた。カラムは寂しくて心細くてしょうがなかったんじゃないかな。だから余計に強がっているんだと思う。カラムには守ってくれる人が必要だ。キャストだろうとヒューマンだろうと関係なくね。今カラムを守れるのはあなただけなんだ。
なんだよ、あっち行けよ。キャストのくせに。離せよバカ。何すんだよ。
私はライムさんに約束したの。カラムを絶対守りますって。
いやーなんか爽やかな気分だな。いいですね、人助けって。ところで教官はノルフェと何を話していたんです？
それは秘密だ。
チェー。
教官はいつからガーディアンを？
今年で3年目だ。14の時にライセンスを取った。
そうすると教官は俺たちと同じ17歳ってこと？
そうだ。これからはカレンと呼んでくれていい。しかし教官としては君たちを厳しく指導していくからな。覚悟しておけ。
へえ。
They're not aware that they're in an anime, so that's normal. Or something. That's gonna be the end of the chapter. I thought there was more to it than that, but I guess I was wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the characters they added at the bottom here are new. You can see Kurtz, the asshole. You can see our Haro with arms.
.考古学者ドーソンと共にレリクスの調査に向かったイーサンたちに草原の支配者イラガンが牙を向く。レリクスの持つ驚愕の事実とドーソンの秘密とは。
Yeah, as is tradition for the online style Phantasy Star games, you fight a dragon pretty early on.
レリクス。
Oh, hey, that guy. Saw him a couple of times in the start of episode cutscenes. Let's save. Because after all, we finished the chapter. And we're gonna start this one just a little bit. We skip over the introduction of the chapter because we've seen this before. And we get into our beginning of chapter cutscene and everything. That we did not skip over, I believe. Yeah.
イーさん、起きてますか？イー
One
さん、
second.
まだお休みですか？
Excuse me.
おはようございます、ヒューガ様。
おはよう、ピート。イーさんを起こしてくれませんか？
はい、少々お待ちくださいませ。イーさん、起きてください。朝ですよ。
おやおや、苦戦してますね。
申し訳ありません。こうなったら奥の手を使うしかありませんね。
Oh, Pete's gonna break out the taser arms. Close enough.
おい、ピート、何すんだよ。
Grab me by the ears.
痛いよ。ちょっとやめて。
Cut it out. At that rate, he's gonna cut it off by accident.
寝覚めはどうだい？
It being the ears in
な
this
んだよ、こ
case.
んな朝早く。
カレンさんから呼び出しがかかってます。パルムの遺跡調査に行くようです。僕はシティのエリア B2 にいますから、イーさんも。
遺跡？この間見つけたレリクスか？
そうです。早く来てくださいね。
おい、ヒューガ、ピート、いい加減耳を離せって。だ、はあ、痛え。
Can't feel his ears anymore, probably. Well. He's waking up a bit earlier. Yeah, good luck with that. Going on. Interesting. Alright, let's deal with these two. Be open for business. Yeah, I would imagine, considering what happened. Relic site? Yeah, what's... Archaeologist. That seems a little bit dangerous. Yeah, that's what I figured. Interesting. I will have to check that real quick, but first, do the most important thing of dumping our items in here. At least these things. Because otherwise they will gunk our inventory pretty severely. Granted access to Type Select and free missions. Type Select is basically our class change ability, I believe. And free missions will let us go on side quests, basically. And by side quests, I mean we can do repeatable missions. And that's where we can grind for levels and money And if we max rank them, we can get special decorations for our room and sometimes special equipment. But nothing like super powerful, if I recall correctly. If we want any good weapons in this, we're going to have to synthesize for them, I believe. Alright, shopkeeper. We probably have nothing new then. I would like that ability for my spear, but I don't think that's going to be a thing yet. That's probably going to end up just eating space on the palette. Just for a while. This is the area where you get mostly, at least I think that's the case, is that the third floor is mostly like cosmetic stuff. Let's just confirm. Yeah, that's the basics here, yeah. Yep, basically, free missions, repeatable quests, we can get money, few items. I already mentioned that, but eh. Yep. And yeah, as I mentioned, type selection is our class change system. I guess I can give a brief preview of that then. And we can take a look at what our class options are. Yep, good luck with that, etc. Alright, so yeah, we only have 3 classes available in this story mode as far as I know. But let's take a quick look at what we have going on here. So, for the Hunter class, this is our melee type. We can equip the larger sword, we can so we can equip these weapons all at the S rank, which means that we can equip any of them. But we can equip these only at C rank. This is rifle shots, I think. I think this will be our shotguns, our double handguns. We have B rank available for these more support-oriented weapons. So the standard pistol, the machine gun, and I guess we can actually carry the canes at B rank, which is weird because I don't know what tech access we have as a hunter. However, for our S rank weapons, we have all of the melee-oriented stuff. We've got the sword, which you saw. I didn't get to show off the photon art for that. Maybe I will later. The knuckles, we saw Dogman had those. Not one that I've really used. The spear is just busted, honestly, from what I remember. The double saber. This is a pretty cool weapon, too. This has an attack called, like, Bone Dance or something, which can do a ridiculous amount of hits, especially to a singular enemy. The twin sabers, I could try that out later. I seem to recall those being not so good. We've seen the twin daggers a little bit. That's not terrible. The twin claws, I've never used these, so I don't... Well, maybe I have. I just don't remember it offhand, that's for sure. And of course, our one-hand melee weapons. We've got the saber, the dagger, the claw. All S-rank options for us. Now we scroll down here. The Ranger still has a pretty nice spread of stuff. We've got B-rank swords, which is pretty unusual. B-rank spears, that gives us great access to those. B-rank saber and dagger for our single hands, which will fit nicely with our single hand guns down here with our S-rank access to pistols, our S-rank access to crossbows, and to machine guns. And for the larger long-range weapons, we've got rifles. That's got to be shotguns is the second one, I'm sure. Which, again, pretty unusual that hunters get access to shotguns at all. In that case, we get the bow, which this one is pretty much just the rifle, but with better damage, I think, and shorter range. It's a very odd weapon type in a lot of ways. We get the laser cannon. The laser cannon is one that you don't get for a while, but it's pretty nice. It shoots real slow, but it's like a piercing shot. So you can do a lot of damage to a large group of enemies that way. Very nice weapon. I find those to be pretty fun. So again, if there's incentives to use this class, but I may just stick to hunters for the entirety of the playthrough. Meanwhile, forces have a very narrow set of weapons they can equip. We've got the long staff, the short staff, the bow, and of course saber, dagger, handgun, machine gun. But they are oriented more toward using magic, or technics as the game calls them, which makes them a little bit tougher to get used to. But it really lets you handle a wide variety of roles if you're good at it. But for now, we're sticking to just the hunter. No class change for us for now. But we're gonna go hit a save point, and that's gonna be it for this stream. Assuming I don't get interrupted by story right now. I just want to go save. Can we resupply our... Yeah, we should do that before I forget. Because I will otherwise. Alright. Wow, 3 hours, 6 minutes. I've been at this longer than I thought I would do tonight. Wow.